One little thing at a time. Just keep coaching them and keep meeting with them, keep talking with them, keep showing them tape. They're 18 and 19-year-olds. It was only 2 weeks ago. We're like, okay, we got this figured out. 2 weeks later, we don't have it figured out. So.
John, they seem to play well at South Carolina when Coach Rovick was.
He's a better coach than me.
No,
he's a better coach than me, Jerry.
But a different voice.
He's a better coach than me. He's a better coach. Should let him be the head coach.
So when are you resigning?
As soon as you retire.
We're stuck with each other. Yeah, how much regret do you have, Cal?
You said today that this is on me. What things personally? What do you wish you maybe had done different over the course of this year, if any specific?
No, how this plays out. At the end of the day, where we are, they're 18 and 19. It's my job. They need me to keep leading them. It was 2 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago that I said, if I have to be 35-year-old and coach like that, I will. Throughout my career, there's not been one way that I've done things. There's not been one offense or zone defense or press or, it's whatever the team needs from me. And that's what I do. And at the end of the day, I take responsibility. I never put it on the kids. It's on me. And so we're here. We've got to get these kids playing more confident. Part of it is you've got to work your way through it. Part of it is when adversity hits, will you come together? And it's all stuff we're learning.
John, you said the team needs you to lead them. How can you put yourself in a position to get tossed at South Carolina? They needed you then.
Well, again, it wasn't like people walked up and said, you did that on purpose. I didn't do it on purpose. But after that point, hopefully I've led well enough that they don't need me out there and they can perform. That's leadership. That you can, sometimes you're sick, you step away, something happens, and the ship moves on, and you look back and say, boy, I've done a good job of leading because I've had other people around me and a team that knows they can do this without me. I think that was important for them to see. But again, this team is a work in progress. A lot of young players. 2 weeks ago, Florida, Mississippi, we got this figured out. 2 weeks later, all of a sudden, we're like a bunch of teams in the top 25 that lost. Some of us lost to unranked teams. You lose, and you regroup and figure it out.
Has this group been tougher to figure out overall?
They're just younger. They're younger.
Why has the offense declined especially shooting percentage, the last 2 or 3 games, and what can you do to fix it?
Well, part of it is we're getting no free baskets, and the ones we're getting next to the goal for some reason we're missing. So if you look over the last 3 games, I'm guessing we've missed over 21-foot shots. I mean, right next to the goal. You're talking about out-rebounding teams by 20-some rebounds each game and getting no breakout baskets. So we're not getting enough free baskets. We've been working hard on running and getting it out and going. The other thing I think, again, getting the ball in the basket with contact. You got to get it in. You can't have an excuse. You got to get the ball in. So we've been working on that some with the kids. We're trying to do stuff to let them know what you need to do, you're capable of doing. Now, you have to get out there and do it.
Is it possible after the fact to go back and sort of say to those guys, to effectively scrub expectations that people came into this and they came into this season?
You keep going. It's all a process. I mean, where we are right now has no bearing where we're going to be. It's what are you willing to do to get yourself to play better? We have a team, we have a style, we have the defense, we have an offense. We're good enough to do what we have to do now. The biggest thing is when adversity hits, will you come together? And it's, you just keep making a point of it. You show them in the tape where we started to break down, where things didn't go quite our way. So,
do you think how they think of themselves is still at times sort of colored by those beginning of the season expectations? We're not a 40-0 team.
I'm not in their mind. You'd have to ask them. I don't know. All I'm trying to do is let's get ready for our next game.
John, on the teleconference, I got the idea that you're thinking about a lighter tone, that maybe the coaching like 35, maybe you should go to 55. What sense?
Whatever they need from me. is how I coach, and that's what they know. Whatever they need, and I've done it every year I've coached. So, anywhere I've coached, that's been the case. Now, if you remember, 2 weeks ago, if you really were listening, where I said, we need this to be driven by players. Well, what does that mean? That I've stepped back, that they take on more responsibility. Obviously, they weren't ready. Now, if I have to coach every possession, I will. It's not what I want to do. And what I want them to do is take on more responsibility. Also, to where they're talking to one another and holding each other accountable. If they hold each other accountable, it's less I have to do. But it's hard for an 18 or 19-year-old group. When you got juniors and seniors, you can do it. We're asking them to grow up fast. That's what we do here. That's what we've always done here. But, you know, again, I'm going to be what they need me to be, because the job here, for me, is about them, not me. Now, you can all focus it on me, and what my job is about these young people. How can I get them to understand adversity hits, you got to come together. How you got to play more for your teammate. How you build self-esteem and self-confidence. That's what we're doing. And I said it, you know, there are a lot of things we're teaching now that may not hit home, but it may hit home 10 years from now, that they look at it. Inner dialogue, all the things we're talking about. The dregs of all that stuff that we got to deal with. But, again, my mind hadn't changed about this team. It's just that we got to get them in a little different mindset. We got to practice it, and then they got to carry over in the game. And when adversity hits, when the other team tries to take the game or take it from you, you just don't let them, and you respond to it.
Cal, right now, what's working and what's not working offensively for teams?
Again, they're being really physical with them. They're still running people at them. You say what's not working, the kid's averaging a double-double the last 3 or 4 games. I don't know if he should be averaging 25 and 15. Want him to shoot a few more jumpers than he's shooting. Everything is a drive right now. There are opportunities for him to shoot jumpers. But again, he's got to be comfortable doing it, more confident doing it. He's doing fine. I mean, again, you know, we talked about our 2010 team. They were never an execution team. They just were a competitive team. They would look at another guy. That's what we're trying to grow to here. You got to make this personal. You got to make some of it like, I'm going at this guy, and that's what we're trying to get to.
Cal, after the game, Aaron said that he thinks this is still going to be a great story at the end of the year. Is that the attitude you want out of a loss like that?
Yeah. I mean, it's exactly what we want. It's exactly what we want. You're not. I know we were the only team to lose on Saturday. But you deal with it and you move on. And now how do we get this team thinking right? And great group of kids, just young. And like I've said to them, I'm not saying that an 18 and 19-year-old kid is responsible. I'm responsible to get them to play right, to get them in the right frame of mind. If they're not in that frame of mind, that's back to me. This team is young because we recruited a young team. So all of it comes back to me.
Well, John, with what you've gone through the last couple of years on that, does that reassess how you're recruiting, or not?
I don't think so.
To make up the team.
I think, look, I'd like to have guys stay for me, but if the opportunity arises for them, I'm not going to hold guys back. I mean, I'm recruiting good players. Some of them people think would go, others think they wouldn't go. You don't know until the year's out. You just don't know. I mean, the environment we're in, you can either convince kids to stay that should leave, or recruit players who aren't quite good enough to be here and compete. I'll recruit a top 50. He thinks he's one and done too. I mean, that's why the rule, like I keep coming back to, I'm hoping this rule changes and it goes to 2 years. It makes it good for the kids, high school kids, college kids, the NBA. It's good for everybody.
Cal, a lot of coaches have talked about that, wanting to change the rule, but it's an NBA rule. How much is that going to take some cooperation on your part?
It's not. It'll be between the NBA and the Players Association. It has nothing to do with us. My hope is they come to terms with it and they know it's best for everybody involved, including the players.
Cal, you're probably gonna say that can't figure out what your kids are thinking, but do you think your kids are having fun this year playing ball?
It's hard to have fun playing ball here. Remember John Wall coming into me? I'm not having fun. I think we were 19-0 at the time. It's hard to have fun here. You got to make it fun. And today, when we met, it looked like they were good with each other. They know playing in Kentucky's not easy. It's a tough deal. And lose a couple games makes it even tougher. It's just how it is here. You buy into it being the coach here or being a player here.
John, how tough is it to balance being demanding with trying to reinforce and build confidence?
Well, one thing I know, being a coach, if you don't hold guys accountable, you lose your team. So one thing I know, if you don't hold guys, this is that story you're trying to write, probably the most important thing. The most important thing, as a coach, if you do not hold guys accountable, you lose your team. Now, how you do that, there's all kind of different ways of doing it. And throughout the year, it changes. You talk for a while, you have them in the office, you yell, you scream, you sit them out of games, you take them out of games, you do whatever you have to. Everyone on the team needs to know everybody's being held accountable. If you don't hold them accountable, you lose your team.
How are you gonna start Jared and John tomorrow? And
Yes.
let those guys?
Yes.
Along those lines, you talk about sitting guys. Has the bench not been your friend as much as you thought it would be this year?
Bench has been fine. Bench has been fine. I mean, I think Jared's, Dominic, I think Alex and Willie or Calipari. I think Marcus Lee at times has done good things. John Hood has gone in and played as well as he's ever played in his career. So I don't think that's the issue for our team.
John, what recourse do you have? You obviously, you had issues with the officiating Saturday. What recourse do you have?
I can't talk about officials. That's no reason to do it.
Do you have to address that with the guys? It seems like some of them have, over the course of the season, gotten frustrated playing.
Players
getting beat
play,
up.
players play, coaches coach, and officials officiate. That's how it is. And that's what we talk about all the time. You try to protect your kids, but at the end of the day, the way the game is being called, it's being called. Play. They officiate, you play, and I coach.
Cal, do you use the league at all to quietly?
Use the what?
Use the league to
What league?
conference to say, hey, look, I don't like the refereeing. Here's why. Here's examples. Quietly, without something to us.
Look, the rules have changed. How they're supposed to officiate. It's supposed to be called closer. 20 feet and 2 feet. It's supposed to be the same. Those are what the rule. I made the one and we're done rule. Did I also the one that changed those rules? I didn't change them. They were, and then we all taught a certain way of having to play. And that's what you're teaching. And short of that, that's the only thing I can control is how we play. Not how the other guy plays, not how the official officiates, not how the other guy coaches, only on what we teach and how we do it, which is, this is what we were told the game would be called like.
So you sound like in a calmer way behind after the game when he said this is the rule.
No, you asked me a question, I answered it.
Are you saying they're not calling the rules the way they
No,
changed?
you asked me a question and I gave you an answer. That I can only control what they tell me we can do, and that's what we're doing. Thank you.